Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello from Orlando. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, guys, I'm
Good
so glad that
morning.
you, hi. I'm so glad that you took the time to be here today. Background noise, so I'm going to mute everybody as usual. There we go. You are muted. But again, this is a very participatory conversation. So if you have question or comment as we go through this, please, by all means, unmute yourself and jump in, or use the chat functionality as well. Now, I am traveling on the road. I'm doing these notary meetups through Florida, so I'm literally just sitting at a Starbucks again to go through this. If you lose me, please sit tight, as I do have a backup Wi-Fi system now, so it might take me a minute to jump back on, but I will be on. So I appreciate your patience as we go through that. So today, what are we talking about? This LinkedIn for notaries, I'm really excited about, and I got to tell you, I wasn't always that excited about it. You know, LinkedIn is one of those social platforms, or even professional platforms, however you want to call it, that I was ultra resistant to. I really had hoped that everything that I could possibly want to accomplish in social media could have been done on Facebook, because I don't want to have to think about anything else. The reality is that that's just not the case, especially when you think about who, as a mobile notary and loan signing agent, when you think about who our ideal customer is. That's professionals. These are escrow officers. These are hospital administration staff. These are business owners. And where are those people at? Those people are on LinkedIn. And I think, and you might be able to relate to this, I think there was a part of me that just kind of thought LinkedIn was going to be a fad and just kind of come up and kind of go away. And it's clearly not. In fact, if anything, it's going the opposite direction. It's really becoming a super viable tool, not only to promote yourself and represent yourself well, but also to deliver value. The content creation functionality of LinkedIn is really becoming very robust. And people like 55% of the world use social media in the first place to help make their buying decisions. And then our people, our ideal market, these escrow officers and business development managers, are using LinkedIn to make their buying decisions. So your profile, and whether or not it is complete, whether or not it adds value to relationships, is actually having more of an impact than you even know about. And that's kind of the scary thing about this. And this is why I'm so excited about this training, is when a social media platform, what's that thing? Oh, it looks like something's coming out of my head there. When your social media profile, or the platform you're using results in negative business towards you, meaning that you don't get business, you never know about it. It's like the silent killer of your business. So what this whole where this was all born is being able to know how we show up to the world. What are we representing to the world? We have to be aware of our strengths, our weaknesses, and how those are being portrayed in our LinkedIn profile or any social media profile, but we're going to focus on LinkedIn, obviously, in this way. So as we go through this, and I kind of share kind of some of these basics, I'm going to go really deep, and I really want you to understand why we're going deep, because this is not a matter of just coming up with a fancy word and copying and pasting it into a headline. This is an overall strategy, not only for LinkedIn, but for your entire business. So it's real important that we know how we are showing up and the impact, that emotional wake they talk about, that we leave even in social media. So that's what I'm excited about this course. Now let's talk a little bit about Sandra Long, because she's the kind of the industry guru on all things LinkedIn, the personal branding when it comes to LinkedIn. Sandra, actually, her whole business is as a consultant, goes around to these Fortune 500 companies and teaches them about their LinkedIn presence. And she's written a book on it. I'm going to share my screen here so you can at least see it. That's where I started, guys. Bear with me 1 second. That's how I found Sandra. Is I actually just, I think I read it or got a referral in another book to this LinkedIn for Personal Branding, The Ultimate Guide, written by Sandra Long. You can get it. It's like $7 for the Kindle version, $20 for the paperwork edition or paperback edition. And it's super practical. And I was able to use it to really enhance my profile. What I found is there's a lot deeper. And another frustrating part as I'm learning my business, and you can probably relate in no matter what business you're in, all this real general knowledge is cool. But when it comes to applying knowledge specifically to my business, like in our case, it's the mobile notary and loan signing agent business, I need something more. I really want powerful conversation, like mastermind level conversation about how we're taking this general concept and we're applying it to this specific business, because every business has its nuance. And I think that's what I'm most excited about in this whole thing here, is that in this venue, we have the opportunity to do that with and for each other. So again, thank you so much for being a part of this. Now, Sandra, I just happened to give her a call one day and said, hey, read your book. It was awesome. It changed my whole thinking about LinkedIn. I have these students. Would you mind coming and doing a webinar with us? And she played ball. She was super excited about it. She's passionate about what she does. And that's actually a pretty big deal, guys, because some of these people I've reached out to, you never hear from again, or they want their $25,000 fee right up front just to sit and share information with you. And those are obviously not the types, that's not going to be the win-win for us, number one. And that's not the mentality of the type of people that we like to work with. What we've been able to do here at Notary Coach and the Sign and Thrive Notary course and community is really attract awesome, like-minded people who are here more so for the giving and the learning part and growing something bigger than just a paycheck. So I'm looking for people who contribute to that philosophy, and I found that in Sandra. She's super cool. She's also created this course that goes super deep into this. So on this, and can I just get a thumbs up maybe from Des, since I can see you at the top? Did my screen just change? Can you now see the LinkedIn? Okay, thank you so much. So what Sandra did is she created this LinkedIn personal best for sales and business development. And in case there's any question about what it is that we do every single day when we're pursuing new clients, we are in business development. And yes, it is selling. It's selling ourselves. It's selling a service. It's selling our philosophy, whatever it is. That's what this is about. So when you buy her course, it's like $27 a month if you want to do the monthly thing, or I think it's $270 if you pay for the year in advance. And you get 20% off using the Notary 20 code. Now what you get is these 4 classes on here. So these 4 classes, these are actually what I'm going through every single day. And I schedule my training at least just 15 minutes a day. I'm extremely busy, but around lunchtime, I like to just kind of take a break and schedule the 15 minutes, the LinkedIn training, and then I have a Rockstar Academy I'm taking as well, so I try to do 15 minutes that way. Sometimes this gets so involved that I'll actually spend 20 minutes or a full half hour on it, so there's some flexibility there, but the key is to maintain the consistency. And if you're anything like me, you may have signed up for dozens and dozens and dozens of courses or mini courses or books, and you get so excited. They do such a great job of selling it to you. You give them the credit card, and then it just sits in your email box for 2 years. So I've got this graveyard of courses that I've signed up for in the past, and I'm committed to not doing that with this one because I realize the impact on this. And what's cool about LinkedIn is we're going to be able to track the results almost instantly as you start implementing this stuff. And I'm going to go through that here in just a minute. I'm going to show you kind of what I did to do the the baseline statistics so we can track our progress as we go through this. Now, as you're participating in this call, there is absolutely no pressure, no requirement to purchase this course. I highly recommend that you do, because what we're going to talk about here is just a glance over of what we're learning and implementing. We're not here to bypass Sandra's course in any way, where it's like the cliff notes to the course, so you just jump in here and take that. That's not how I'm designing this. It's not a cheat around the system. It's a mastermind, so we can all help even take it further. So that's the idea there. I am going to jump in here, though, and I want to show you kind of the first section, because this is where we are. This is the foundational stuff. A lot of people get turned off by the foundational stuff because we're talking about stuff they don't want to go too deep on themselves. You know, we don't want to get into my strengths or my weaknesses. You know, they just want to jump in and they want to know, copy, paste this into this area and this area, and just watch the magic happen. I would encourage you to kind of shift your mindset on there, because if you're going to live authentically, if we're going to have an authentic business where who you are in real life is who you are in business, then you've got to do the work. This is that becoming part that I talk a lot about. We have to become the type of person that has a successful business before the successful business just happens. So that's what I was so impressed with on this course, is she dives super deep in there. All the way through here, and then this LinkedIn startup right here, the strategic positioning. Positioning is real important, because that's how you're going to show up. I've actually spoken just on coaching calls to many of fellow notaries who think that their LinkedIn profile that they set up 5 years ago is great and perfect. The challenge that we've had is that when you actually look at it, where people were 5 years ago is a completely different place than it is now. So you've got job information that's incorrect. You've got one person had like desperately seeking employment as the tagline. You know, you want to probably take that out. If you're going to be a business that is offering service and being of service to people, then you want that reflected in this profile and every profile. And if you want to copy information, you know, from your signingagent.com profile or your Notary Cafe profile, that's totally okay too, because then there's this consistent message. But we definitely want to pay, you know, jump in here and pay some close attention. She does this SWOT analysis, which is in the business world is actually pretty common for determining strengths and weaknesses. So I highly recommend that you jump in there and try that. And then you've got lots of prompts for brainstorming. And I actually, guys, I printed this out. This is how deep she goes in this. I don't know if you see this, but we got the SWOT analysis. There's prompts for brainstorming, why you're in business, what is your big why, all of those types of things. So you can get as deep as you want into this. So it's really great that way. Now, what you're seeing here is kind of all the ways I got up to. This technical stuff was eye-opening to me too, because I had different email addresses in there. I should have had more email addresses in there. Lots of good stuff on there. Now, I know that we had some people on the call that have already started. Have you, do you have anything to add to the very beginning phases, the beginning modules that you'd like me to bring up or mention here or address?
This is Harold.
Hey, Harold, how's it going?
It's going well.
Good.
I've gone through the, thank you. I've gone through the first module. I've completed the first module. And like you said, it goes very deep. It goes over every single aspect of your LinkedIn profile and all of the things that are available to you. And the thing that I liked most about it, and I changed things on my profile as I was going through the course. As soon as I got finished with a section, like you said, like what you did, I did 15 to 30 minutes a day. And at the end of that, I would make modifications to my profile based on what I just learned. The thing I like most is at the end of doing all of that, she gives you the opportunity for her to review your profile and give you her comments. That was fantastic. And she gave me all her comments. She told me where I had been making a mistake, and it didn't even occur to me that I had made a mistake there. And I went and changed that, and uh, things, I just love it. It's a great course.
That's awesome. All right, so cool. And I totally forgot about that too, because I haven't got there yet. You know, I haven't got to the part where Sandra's going to review uh, my profile. So I'm so glad you mentioned that, and I'm excited to have that too, because that's truly uh, the feedback that is going to make a difference for sure. And you also mentioned, Harold, something that's super important, because like any course or any book, if you just read through it and then plan to come back and implement, it's not going to happen. We have to get real with ourselves. It's just not going to. These things are practical guides. This conversation that we're having here, the course, the book, whatever you choose to do, is a very practical guide. So implement it as you go. Thank you for sharing that, Harold. All right, so you can see I still have a lot to go just in December, so I'm going to have my work cut out for me as I'm going through here. What I wanted to do too, though, is I want to show you kind of where we're going, because I like to have a 30,000 foot view so I know where I'm going. And that's what really, I mean, I literally had to call Sandra and say, okay, well, here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about content creation and all of that. And she's like, yeah, that's all in there, but you got to start back here. You have to lay the foundation. If you don't get the foundation down, then none of this stuff is going to matter. So let me give you the overview so you can see what's going on here. So these are the 4 courses that are included. So right here, this is very powerful too. So this will be one of the other sections we'll probably get to in January, February, is where we start talking about building the network and connecting, how to find exactly who we want to find on LinkedIn. These are the escrow officers, the closing agents, the family law attorneys, the hospital administration staff, all of that. That's where we're going to really dive deep and get into that. Then we have, keeps just kicking me out of that whole thing. The LinkedIn content. This is another one that's huge, guys, because one of the things, the traps that so many of us do in the very beginning, especially when we're starting out, is we just get our bullhorn through memes and images, and we just talk about how great our services are. Yeah, amazing mobile notary, truly 24/7 a day. You know, how great we are. But really, the thing that drives traffic is content. And it's the way that you write and you add value to other people. So that requires a little more research. It requires knowing what your ideal customer is looking for, what they need, what their pain points are. That all requires research that most people don't want to do. But if we want to be unique and creative, if we want this to go to the next level, we need to put the time in the front part of the game so we can get those customers. Because guys, there's 97% of your clients that see that you are contributing, or you're recognized as a thought leader in your industry, meaning that you provide content and value, you're driving ideas. Those people they want to attach themselves to you. They want to be a part of whatever it is you're creating there. And this module is going to teach us exactly how to do that. And then, of course, each month there's the social selling. A lot of what we're talking about right here, guys, is social selling. It's about building relationships on these social platforms and using that to build relationships. Relationships lead to referrals, even on the social media platform that way. So that's how this all kind of takes place. Let's see. Let's see. The first module in the course pretty much covers her book. However, the other modules, yeah. So Harold says the very first, this LinkedIn strategic profile part is pretty much what the book covers. That'll get you that far. But you guys can join the course however you are and whatever you want. There's, like I said, there's absolutely no pressure to do so. We're probably going to release these mastermind or LinkedIn for Notaries specific blocks of training once or twice a year. That keeps it live and fresh, because LinkedIn is one of those things that changes all the time as well. Okay, but the thing that I really want to get to is we have to have some measurement of our success or our progress as we go through this. So what I want to do is I'm going to show you my LinkedIn profile here. And some of this has, it's a kind of a blend of integration between what I learned in Sandra's book. And I read that probably 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. So it's still old. I let it sit here. I haven't been really active on it. I have been trying, I don't like to use that word. I have been making a conscious effort to post more to LinkedIn. I want that to be the top of my mind rather than Facebook on some occasions. So I'm working on it. But right now, to track this, what I did is I created where I just took screenshots of my dashboard right here. So this will show me how many people have viewed, my post views, and my search appearances. And then I also went here and I did my see all activity. And I took a screenshot of each of these major articles, especially this one, you know, because that one is probably the most popular one I have on there. But I wanted to see. So now I want to track my progress each week as I'm going through this to see if there's a drastic change in not only my number of followers, but the number of views and also the interactions that people can't see, like my messaging. Already just implementing a few of the things from the coach and changing like my titles right here and knowing how to add these little lines right here so I could increase my number of titles there without making it look cluttered and gross. That actually helped out so much too, just little differences like that. Because I was only having one title up here because I didn't want it to look cluttered. Now I'm able, I think this looks clean and sharp, and it's still, I'm able to incorporate everything. Those little things come from the book and the very basics of the training course. I still have a long way to go here. I'm a huge advocate for showing personality and passion in your profiles, and this is the most dry and boring profile that I've seen on there. Like, I wouldn't even hire me. So I can't wait till we get to the part that talks about that, and I can update and continue to do that. And then what we can do here in this particular call and course, guys, if you are participating and you're tracking as well, I want us to share results too, so we can help support each other as we go through that. Any questions? Any more comments from anybody else who's in the course or reading the book?
I just started. I did the SWOT, and that's it. But I'm interested, since Harold has already applied all of Unit 1, I'm wondering if he'd be willing to, I don't know if he can do this on this platform, if we could look at his and he could tell us what he changed or how the changes happened.
Yeah, Harold, how do you feel about that?
That's fine, Bill. Go ahead and go to mine, because
Okay.
I'm in my car on my phone, so I couldn't show you mine.
No problem. Let's do it. Harold Chisel. There you were.
It's Harr. Yeah, that's
there
it.
You are. All right, there he is. That's Harold from San Fernando Valley, like right up here in the cover art. He's got where he's located. So can you kind of walk us through this a little bit, Harold, on maybe some of the specific things that Sandra recommended for you?
Well, excuse me. Like you said, the summary right there. I initially had my summary was all about mobile notary and how great I am and how many loans I've closed and blah, blah, blah. But I also had that in my business description as well. So she said, no, you don't do that. Okay, just change that. And so what I did was I incorporated my passion with mobile notary. I love being a mobile notary. I love meeting new people, and I work with teenagers. And I speak at schools. And I said, I put all of that in there. It gives me the opportunity to take some time off during the day, and I can go and speak to some students, or I put all, that's why it's 3 paragraphs long. When I started writing, I almost couldn't stop.
Awesome.
When she gave me that suggestion. And she also suggested to change some of my skills. So I looked at my skills and I felt the skills were okay, but I did add a couple just yesterday, Notary and Notary Public. But I'll just have to wait and see how I get recommendations for those 2 skills, because I just added those. The other thing, as far as content is concerned, is I schedule 15 to 20 minutes every day for LinkedIn, where I'll go to LinkedIn and I will either like and or comment on various posts that I see. And what that's done is a number of people have started following me from that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't comment and like just because. I actually like their post.
That helps too.
Yeah, that does help.
Yeah.
And I'll comment. I'll make a substantive comment on something.
Yeah.
And that, or I will share a number of comments, a post that I really feel like the people that are following me would enjoy that. And I've also tagged some people in some posts that I felt that they would like those posts.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead. You're going to ask the question?
Yeah, I just noticed that you've also, it looks like you've written an article here too called 1%.
That article was a couple of years ago. And it was to parents of teenagers.
Fantastic.
So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to continue. Now, I've actually scheduled myself to write articles once a week, starting in January.
Good for you.
Yeah. So I'm going to post them, some for teenagers or parents of teenagers, and others for the notary business and how it could help people.
That's fantastic, Harold. So what I love about this, and where really the direction of this whole thing is going, is like we talked about in the beginning, how you're showing up to life, because there's oftentimes a big breakdown between how we think we're showing up and how we think we're supposed to show up, right? Where it's all business and you don't mix business and pleasure, and I get to be this person at home, but I'm going to be this person in business, and these people don't get the right to know me over here. And those days really are, I don't think that they ever existed in the first place, but there was a business philosophy that just was teaching and leading people to be 2 different people. And that's probably why we get as stressed out in society as we do. We're just living 2 different lives. This business affords us the ability to be who we are every single day, to bring our passions, with teenagers or the homeless or kids or the elderly. That's a huge one for us. That allows us to bring those passions into this business, and we can share that here, because guess what? Who do I want to do business with? I want to do business with this guy who in his free time helps out teenagers. That says a lot about who they are as a person, and I can make some decisions about the type of person that he might be. So that, and this comes across super authentic. This isn't somebody sharing this because they want to sell me something. This is somebody sharing themselves to attract people who appreciate this. And that's really what this is all about, and why we're going to be doing all of this. Thank you so much for letting us share that, Harold.
Of course.
All right, looks like we got some chats here. Thank you, McCoy. McCoy. Appreciate that. How do you find content to post? I never know what to talk about. It seems LinkedIn is for the industry, where Facebook and Instagram are for customers, clients. So content for posting is different. So it can require a little bit of creativity when it comes to content. Number one, you want to know who your audience is and who your ideal customer is. And we'll dive off definitely way deeper into this as we move through this. But just so you know, if your ideal customer, let's just say escrow officers, because that's the cleanest, simple way. Escrow officers, you want to kind of get in their world. What is it that they would be interested in? What would be helpful to them? They're probably going to want to know what housing market trends are. They're probably going to want to know some stress relief. They're probably going to want to know some eating healthy type things. Guys, there's so much stress and there's so much sitting in offices that a lot of these escrow officers, like every office I go to, they're almost always on a diet. They're always trying to eat healthier. And people are always bringing them donuts and cookies and, you know, the stuff that this kind of counteracts that. So if you could find creative ways to talk about, help them stay healthy or relieve stress, you know, whether it's a weekly massage or Zen meditation, there's really anything that you can do. You can do vehicles. You can talk about vehicles and fuel efficient vehicles for escrow officers. Tie anything in the world you could tie into the escrows. Now, the thing is to remember is that there's always a human being behind the name badge, right? So that's who we're trying to connect with. And everything, they have the same problems that the rest of us do. They're stressed out personally, financially. Maybe their relationships are under strain. Maybe, like I said, they're having some health concerns. Maybe they're going to school at the same time. Maybe they're trying to further their career. They've got all of that going on. So it takes creativity. So sitting down and brainstorming it and getting creative and then just creating it and going. The cool thing about content, guys, is we're not talking about a 10,000 page dissertation. It could be 2 or 3 sentences. It could just be a meme that works for them, those types of things. And a lot of this content has already been created. So it's a matter of connecting with the people who are also trying to connect to the same person. You know, who wants to connect with escrow officers? It's, you know, maybe there's other insurance companies or real estate agents that are drafting the same thing. They're drafting content for you so you can share it and tag people in it and all that good stuff. There's lots of ways to do that. Let's see. I've used LinkedIn for years in the telecom world. I'm now a realtor as well and starting a mobile notary. How do we highlight both on LinkedIn? That's a good question, Sid. And I know specifically that Sandra brings this up in the course, so I haven't got there yet. So give me some time to get there. You can also, in her book, she specifically talks about it. But also, Sandra's going to pop in on a few of our calls, so these will be good questions for her too. So we will definitely get to how to have 2 jobs or some side hustles in there as well. Barbara says, I'm very new to LinkedIn and I'm putting off connecting to any potential clients until I get my profile where I think it should be. Is that wise, or should I begin connecting now and continue developing my profile? I think it depends, Barbara, but you make a really good point. And I think that's why Sandra's course is kind of laid out the way that it is, because it forces us to dig deep and lay the foundations. Because the reality is, if we have an incomplete profile, in fact, let me just get you the exact, I just found this statistic and I thought it was crazy. 50% of people that you're trying to connect with and sell something like your services to, 50% of them will disregard you and not use your services if your profile is not complete. So if you look at a statistic like that, then it almost is like, well, it makes more sense just to sit tight and make sure my profile gets where it needs to be before I start reaching out to people. Because people can be a little unforgiving sometimes. People make judgments all the time, and that's really what it is. You know, if you got an incomplete profile and somebody just decides that you are not taking your business professionally enough or seriously enough to even finish your profile, they're making judgments on you on that. And they're moving on to the next one. It's going to be real hard to come back from that. Now, that said, it depends too on how you determine what a complete profile is. You might have enough in there just to get people somewhat excited, but I'm not out actively seeking connections yet. you know, I'm getting connections because I've got some content out there, but I'm kind of embarrassed by my profile, to be honest with you. Like it's like I just said, it's counter to everything else that I teach. It's counter to everything else that I feel. It's really cold and not something that I want to go out and just start showing off. So I'm going to get this profile cleaned up before I start ghost seeking. And I think that's the order that Sandra has it laid out as well. Oh, great. Harold even says, Sandra suggests to wait until you get your profile looking good before you pursue. Do we have a question? There's somebody coming on. Oh, I just muted you again because we heard the background noise. If you have a question, though, we can get you in. What else we got here? Christine says, I'm in the process of building my mobile notary business while presently still at my full-time job. Is there a way to connect with the escrow officers and use LinkedIn to build without raising red flags on my current employer? Great question. Great question. And it's twofold. I'm not going to speak to the LinkedIn portion of this yet. I am going to speak to the notary business portion of this yet. If you are already employed full-time for another company and you do not have flexibility in your schedule, then you should not be marketing to escrow officers just yet. Your strategy is going to be a little bit different. Your strategy is going to be signing up with signing companies because they have the volume, which means that there's a better chance that you're going to get signings that are in a window of opportunity for you. It does not make sense to spend money and energy marketing to escrow officers if you're going to be telling them no 90% of the time. Any question on that? Cool. And then I know Sandra specifically speaks to how the balance and have, like, if you're a full-time industry worker over here and you have your mobile notary business, how do you represent it professionally? And there is a way to do that. I just haven't gotten to that part yet either. All right, Des says, one possibility for posting. I have been posting positive YouTube videos. There are tons of motivational and positive leadership videos that I like to start my day with. I've been getting positive feedback and likes from them. I think that's a great idea, Des. And it's, you know, you want to do everything in moderation. And some people really respond well to positive motivational stuff, and some people don't, as I have learned. But I love the idea. In fact, even if it was just one a day to start the morning with, the people that are going to like that are the people you want to attract to your network anyway. So I love that idea. Nina says, I'm new to this whole notary business, and I only aspire to do this part-time, really as a stepping stone to do something else. So I guess I'm not actively seeking to connect either. I work for full-time as well. Yeah, so that's nothing wrong with that, Nina. And I love that you kind of know exactly what you want this to be. And that's the beautiful thing about this business. It doesn't have to be grown to a certain size. You can keep it nice and small if you want. What you want, though, is to at least get your profile to a point where it's not going to turn people off when they get to it. So you'd probably be great just reading Sandra's book, enhancing your profile to a certain point, and then go from there. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to open it up for any last questions. We're right at the 35 minutes past the hour, or 40 minutes past the hour already. Any other questions I can help answer for you here? Oh, yes, the code for Sandra's course, and the link is in the emails that I sent out, but here is the code for that 20% discount. Whoops, I just sent it privately. Bear with me. It's Notary 20. So if you type Notary 20 as the discount code, you get 20% off every month or 20% off the annual subscription as well. All right. Okay, guys. That'll do it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Now, these calls are going to be held on the first Friday of every month. As we get deeper into this, I'd love to hear your feedback about how it's going, because this is totally a new concept, guys. We're learning as we're going. We're masterminding as we go. If you need to see more of these calls, if we need to do every 2 weeks or even every week, please let me know. And thank you so much. I appreciate you growing yourself and your business on a Friday. Bye-bye. Oh, do you have a question, Nancy? I'm still here, yeah.
So you just said once every Friday, and yet when I looked at the dates for the course, there are only 4 dates. So I thought there was one, we do the unit and then we talk about it. We do the unit and then we talk about it.
No, it's the first Friday of every month.
So the 4 dates that are listed there are separate?
They are. There's the first Friday of January, the first Friday of February, the first Friday of March. Yeah, I got them all scheduled out. And the just so you know, guys, the link that you used for this call, it is the same link every time. So you don't have to sit and wait for my emails. Even though the emails do come, you don't have to wait for them. They're in the Facebook, and it is the same one. So if you create a calendar event and use the same link and the same details in your calendar event, this will be the exact same for you in January, February, and March. All right, guys, thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you happen to be in Orlando, I'm on my way over to see you. If not, St. Augustine and Jacksonville this weekend. I look forward to meeting you guys. Have a great day.